Are you an active participant in your life? And what I mean by this is, do you just wait for things to happen, or do you go out and make things happen? So this is what we're going to cover in today's video. I've already discussed this topic on my social media stories, so definitely be sure to subscribe to my Instagram, TikTok, I'm on YouTube, obviously, and Twitter, where you get more of that daily interaction and community building with me. Stay fit and active across all platforms, and I also always link those in the description box. Also, be sure that you subscribe to my newsletter and blog posts if you would like more in-depth things to read on all topics related to stay fit and active, being your mental, financial, spiritual, and physical well-being. Now that out the way, let's get into this video. Being an active participant in your life can show up in many different ways. And one of the ways I like to talk about this subject is going off of the quote of, what you aren't changing, you are choosing. And so the reason that I correlate this with being an active participant in your life, because we're going to be in situations that were originally or initially out of our control. But when you make a conscious effort to continue, conscious or subconscious really, but to continue to be in that space, that is you choosing that lifestyle because you are not making an active attempt to change it. So that could be anything from as simple as your health goals. Maybe you want to be in better shape. Maybe you don't like where your endurance level is. Maybe you don't like the way your body is looking or feeling. Maybe you feel like you have way too much sugar and salt or whatever in your diet and you want to feel better. However, you know what you need to do to get out of that space, but you aren't doing it. So by choosing to continue to do the same things you know that aren't working for you, you are choosing that lifestyle. So in order to be a more active participant, instead of passively allowing these things to happen because that's where you're comfortable with, that's what you're used to, you could be active and involved and engaged in an attempt to change your life into something that you want it to be. So that's my first thing. What you aren't changing, you are choosing. And that can even be something on the scale of your career. Maybe every time you go to work, you are feeling drained, you are unappreciated, underpaid, undervalued, like whatever. Something that we're all experiencing, I'm sure. However, if you get to a point where you can't change your mindset on this to be like, well, this isn't where I want to be right now, but this job is providing me X, Y, Z, whatever. If you're continuing to feel miserable there every single day by not trying to find new work, find a new passion, do something to get yourself out of that situation, you are choosing this job, you are choosing that pain, you are choosing that frustration, you're choosing to continue to go through that. So instead of passively just going through the motions, be more active and see, what can I do to change my circumstances? The next point on this subject is a question I want to propose, and that is, are you showing up for you? So a lot of times we can get into these situations where we have community, okay? Maybe we have friends, we have a partner, we have parents, we have other family members, we have a therapist, like whatever. We have the support system. And there's something that you want out of that, right? You want those people to, when you're feeling sad, to be able to comfort you. When you want to do something fun, they're there to join you in that activity. When you want to be engaged in the conversation, you can rely on them to be there. Whenever you need or want any kind of support, whether that's physically, financially, emotionally, mental, spiritual, you want this community to be able to come in and pour that into you. But are you doing that for yourself? Because remember, a support system goes both ways, okay? And you can't expect all these people to do all these things for you when you don't make an effort to do those things for yourself. It's that old saying of being able to meet your own needs. Yes, we can absolutely rely on our support system to help meet those needs, but at the same time, you have to be able to do things for you so that you don't burn out your support system. So if someone's busy that day, or they don't have the capacity to be there for you in the way that you need them to that day, you can still rely on yourself. And I think a lot of the times, a lot of us put so much on other people and not enough on ourselves. At the end of the day, we are our own responsibility, and being able to pour into yourself and being able to show up for ourselves is going to be the most important. Because again, that goes back to being an active participant in your life. Being passive is just waiting for all these people to make you feel what you could try to make yourself feel. Another way we can be a more active participant in our lives is learning to trust ourselves more. And this can be on many different levels. But one way I want to address here is when it goes to being able to make decisions for ourselves. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you need to make a decision for your life, whether that's getting a new job, whether that's making a decision in a friendship or a romantic relationship, whatever. We have a decision to make. And you sit with this and you really think about it, and you come up with the decision, something that you feel feels right to you. But you don't trust it. You don't trust yourself to make that decision. You don't trust that's the best decision for you. So what do? You call somebody else, you call all these other people, you get them involved in whatever the confliction you're having and get all these different opinions on what you should be doing. And someone might say, yeah, stay in that job. Next person might say, yeah, you should leave. Third person might say, I don't know. It could be both one or another. And the fourth person might tell you to leave as well. So even then, all that's doing is confusing you even more, because you're going to these people so they can help you make a decision, and you're getting all these different responses. And at the end of the day, you're still going to do what you feel is best for you, regardless of what anyone else says. So having the ability to just trust yourself more will limit your need to seek out external validation, because you can validate yourself. That's when you think about it, that's really what it is. You just need someone to validate what you are feeling is okay. What decision you decide to make is a good decision. So if you can trust that what you feel is valid, what you're deciding to do is valid, you wouldn't need other people for that. Until you wouldn't really need to seek out validation, because that's going to come from within. And by being able to trust yourself, you're going to be more comfortable making decisions, which is in turn going to make you be a more active person in your life, because you trust that you can do things, you can make decisions, you can go off of what you feel and feel okay with that. To piggyback off of that, I'm going to go into the fourth thing of being able to control your thinking, not so much your thoughts. I won't take credit from this. I was recently listening to an audiobook that a friend recommended to me, and in this book, it's called Don't Believe Everything You Think by Joseph Wynn. But yes, so in this novel, he talks a lot about controlling your thinking and like really limiting that, instead of trying to control your thoughts, because we're going to have thoughts and they're going to keep coming. But the problem is, as they're passing, we might stop one and then begin to think more on that. So to give a very generic example, let's say someone comes to you and say like, hey, like there's this great opportunity for you to speak at a conference on this subject that you are very known in. Okay. You might have a thought of, oh, what if I don't deliver a good presentation, which is a thought that anyone could have. And you could think that and then just let it go. But instead, when that thought comes and you say to yourself that, now you're going to continue to think upon it. Like, well, the last time you gave a speech, that didn't go really well. And then if you don't give a good speech, and then you might get fired. And then people might think, and then it's like this spiral of a thought process that you didn't really have to have. You could have just let yourself have that thought, because it's a valid thought that could happen. But when you continue to think about it, that's where you really get down on yourself. And now, instead of going to do that presentation, you allowed yourself to think your way out of it. And you say, after thinking about it, I've decided that I don't want to do that. So thinking has its place. Sometimes thinking out things will help you come to a good decision, but sometimes thinking about things could prevent you from doing things that would be good for your life. Ergo, causing you to not be an active participant in your life, instead making you more passive, because you're allowing these negative thought processes and all this overthinking to hinder you from flourishing in your life. And then lastly, which probably should have been first, is set goals. Like, in order to be an active participant in your life, you have to know what you want your life to be, what you want out of this life. And that literally can be anything. It doesn't have to be some far-fetched, like, super goal. Your goal can just be, I want to wake up every day and live happily. I want to wake up every day and live authentically as who I am. Like, it can be anything. But the point is, having a goal or knowing how you want to live your life is going to help you participate in it. That's like going to field day, for example, and you haven't even signed up for an activity. So it's like, how are you going to participate in this when you don't even know what you're going to be doing? Like, you're just here. And then maybe someone's like, oh, come over here and like do the skates or whatever. Let's do the hula hoop contest. Okay. So like, yeah, you're there, but so that was passive. Someone put you there. You didn't make that active decision. I'm going to go do hula hoops because I knew coming into this is what I wanted to do. Or maybe even when you got there, you looked around, you're like, you know what? I'm going to go do the hula hoops. That was a decision you made, not a decision someone else made for you. So set goals. Think about how you want your life to be intentional with it, and work every day to achieve that. I know that can suck because maybe you don't want to be putting effort every day into your life, but as a human being, that's just where we are. Even something as simple as going to the restroom, eating and drinking water are something that we have to do every day in order to continue to live. So also put in a daily effort to make yourself happy, and to live a fulfilled life is your responsibility. Moral of the story: take some ownership and realize that you have some control over your life's direction. And I say some control because I'm very a believer of spirituality and the planets and a lot of things that are happening in the universe. We literally have no control over. We have to just go through the motions. But a lot of the things we do have control over. I think we are co-creating our lives with a higher source. But we don't have to get into that on this channel because whatever. But the point is, you are a co-creator, so you do have some control over your life's direction, and it's time for you to shove up your shoes, pull in the reins, and start being more active in your life instead of just letting things happen to you and then complaining when things aren't going the way that you would like them, when you aren't really taking control over the situation. It's like being on a boat and you have the ability to steer the wheel, but you refuse to grab hold of it. You're letting the waves take you wherever, and then you're upset about where it's going. It's a little backwards. So let's not do that. Let's be more active and take control over our lives. So that's all I have for this video. I hope that you did enjoy it, and if you did enjoy it, you know what to do. Give me that thumbs up. Going back to the opening of this video, don't forget to subscribe to all my social medias, linked below. Website is also linked below, where you can subscribe to that newsletter and that blog. And I'll catch you in the next one. As always, don't forget to crush it.